Today we're going to talk about LCM, or least common multiple. Least common multiple is a fraction concept that we use when we're working with fractions. Oftentimes we ask students to find the LCM of the numbers. What does LCM mean? LCM means least common multiple. Let's break it down. Least is the smallest, common, something that two things share, and multiple. A multiple of a number is a number that when I multiply, I get it. For instance, multiples of 4 are counting by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. These are multiples of 4 because 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, and so on. So least common multiple is taking two numbers, counting by them, finding their multiples, and then finding the least or the smallest one that they have in common. Let's take a look. Let's going to start off and find the least common multiple of 42 and 70. 42 and 70. So the first thing we did was skip count. We're counting by 42s and counting by 70s. We always tell students this isn't the best way to do it, but it's a good way to do it if we have problems or if we struggle with some other method. We can always skip count because skip count is something that a lot of students are comfortable with. They can count by numbers. So let's count by 42s. Let's count by 70s. And when we find the least, the smallest, the first one that they have in common, that's our LCM. Through the work that we've shown here, we can see that the LCM of 42 and 70 is 210. Just as we can with GCF, greatest common factor, we can use prime factorization to find LCM. We just have to know what we're doing with our numbers. Through our GCF work, we made factor trees. If you missed it, review the math minute on GCF, and then come back here. 6 times 7, 7 times 10. Remember, prime numbers is what we're looking for when we do prime factorization. 7 is a prime number. 2 and 3 are prime numbers. 2 and 5 are prime numbers. So these are the prime numbers that make up 42 and 70. This leads to my prime factorization. Again, just like we did with GCF, we list the prime numbers. 2 times 3 times 7 are my prime factorization of 42. 2 times 5 times 7 is my prime factorization of 70. Once again, just like I did with GCF, I circle 2 and 7 are the ones they have in common. 2 times 7 is 14. That was my GCF, 14. Now, one more step for using this to find LCM. Take that 14 and multiply it by everything that we haven't yet used. Everything we haven't circled. Everything that they don't have in common. Let's look back. 14 is our GCF, but this 5 and this 3 haven't been used yet. The 5 and the 3 need to be used. So, let's use them. Let's multiply the 14 by 3 and by the 5. That will give us the LCM, the least common multiple we're looking for. Times 5, times 3. If we multiply those together, we get 210, and just as we did with skip counting, we come to the same answer. 210 is the LCM. Now, just like GCF, we want to talk about LCM. What do we use it for? What is LCM for? GCF, remember, was for simplifying fractions. LCM is for finding common denominators. If 42 and 70 are the denominators I have, then 210 would be the common denominator, and I would change and make equivalent fractions, turning them both into 210 as the denominator. That's what LCM is for. I use that information when I'm trying to find equivalent fractions, when I'm trying to add fractions, when I'm trying to subtract fractions. I need common denominators. That's what LCM does for us. It helps us find common denominators.